Welcome to the Festival of Storytellers. I thank everybody that's involved with this process because we know writers need readers and writers need publishers.
Experience is not about the publisher, it is about us, the authors.
Aloha and welcome to my live author booth session. My name is Dr. Theresa and I am a pediatrician who has been in private practice. This year makes 40 years. And what I wanted to talk about today is something very, very important, which is exercise or just doing a little more movement. But before I do that, let me just give you a little bit of background. I am the author of 2 books. The first book is The Happy Healthy Revolution, The Working Parent's Guide to Achieve Wellness as a Family Unit. My passion is to help families with obese children, but really families with children, and also giving parents and grandparents the proper knowledge and education to achieve this goal of becoming healthier. The second book I wrote are my daily blogs from March to December 2020 during the pandemic. When we had shut down in Hawaii, I wanted to keep in touch with my family, friends, and especially my parents who really, this was something that we had never experienced before. So I began with a daily blog and ending it with a scripture, uplifting words that perhaps could have helped anyone, even if you don't believe in a higher power. And so as a result, these 2 books, I hope, will help anyone at any age just try to achieve a little better health with some encouragement. So I'd like to start my presentation today with the first slide. And as I mentioned, today I wanted to talk about movement. But before I begin, February is coming up, and February is designated by the American Heart Association as Heart Health Month. So as we talk about movement exercise, this will help to improve our heart health. So heart disease right now in America is the #1 cause of death for men and women. 1 in 4 deaths in America is due to heart disease. And I'm specifically picking walking to talk as the best form of exercise for heart health, simply because it's so easy to do. It's so convenient. You don't need a gym membership. And I know there are many of you living out there in the snow, but you can even do walking indoors. You can even walk in place. You can be sitting down and moving your legs. So sometimes just simply walking can really decrease your risk of heart disease. And next slide, please, Nini. So for anyone who's not familiar with walking, it has the lowest dropout rate. It can be done with your 2-year-old. I have friends who are in their 90s who are walking. There's very few risk of injuries. And as I mentioned, walking can be done anywhere. Now, the Center for Disease Control, CDC, the recommendation is getting a minimum of 150 minutes of aerobic exercise. Next slide, please. And again, just wanting to tell you that there are so many benefits with walking that include not only your mental health, but it really helps you to maintain that healthy weight. As we get older, our metabolism changes and we all tend to gain weight, but that doesn't have to be the case. You can improve your heart health. It strengthens your immune system, so you're less prone to getting sick. It actually helps to protect your bones and relieves joint pains. It aids in digestion, enhances your sleep at night. And just, there's nothing bad to say about walking. So next slide, please. So one of the ways to simply get started is look at your route. You know, if you're planning to walk, maybe it's really cold outside, you know, just do a simple loop. The reason why I say a loop is you don't want to go really far and then have to return back. So if you want to make a stop, especially when you're getting started, you can say, you know, I'll do it again, or I think after one loop, I'll stop. Now, also, when you're doing a walking workout, I always tell people to pay attention to the speed and intensity. Sometimes after this talk, you might say, yes, I'm going to go out and walk. But you don't want to do it too quickly, too intensely. You may get discouraged. You may be achy the next day. So just start very slow and with a comfortable speed and low intensity. The next thing is, people think walking, you know, it's just a natural thing, but pay attention to your form. You want to have good posture, shoulders back and down. And with your feet, you want to do a rolling heel to toe motion. And your arms are pumping at 90 degrees and they're not going across your body. When you are planning this, you want to grab a walking partner and you want to kind of make a realistic schedule, something that you can maintain for a while. Maybe it's after dinner, you can talk to your family and say, after dinner, we're going to take a walk around the block. Or maybe you're a morning person and you get home late from work. So maybe you might want to, you know, grab your spouse or your neighbor and say, hey, before we go to work, let's do a walk. Next slide, please. Now, many of you may already be exercising, but one of the things I wanted to say is walking can help. You can always increase the intensity and make it a really good workout. So here are some suggestions. Consider walking up and down hills. Instead of using escalators, use the steps. You can park far away. You don't need to get that ideal parking space. Plus, no one's going to ding your cars. So I always try to park away. Okay, the next thing is they talk about high intensity workouts. So sometimes instead of just going at the same pace, consider stepping it up, walk as fast as you can, maybe from here, to that house down there, and then slow down. It's called high intensity interval training. And there's so many studies now coming out that these high periods of bursts really, really benefit you in so many ways. The next suggestion I have is to consider walking on different terrains. Now, again, my 90-year-old friend, of course, pavement, paved surface is always the best. But sometimes, if you want to step it up, you can try other terrains such as grass or gravel, or even walking on sand, which I like to do here in Hawaii because you can tend to burn more calories. So again, as your body gets accustomed to your walking workout, consider increasing the speed or increasing the distance. One of the things that I think is excellent is putting on hand weights and wearing a rucking backpack with weights. So I have just like they do in the military, my daughter's in the Army Reserve, so she bought me a rucking and backpack. So it really helps to distribute the weight. You can also just get a regular backpack and put rocks in there. And as long as the backpack has one of those waist things to distribute the weight, that might be better. Jess has a question about the best pair of shoes to use while walking. You want to get shoes that are comfortable and that they actually have shoes that are made for walking where the heel is well padded. If you do need suggestions, see a podiatrist, to get a good recommendation, because if your heels or feet are hurting, it makes it very difficult to walk. So thank you for that. Next slide, please. One of the things that I recently have people have questioned me is a pedometer. People have Apple Watches. In fact, I didn't even know this, but your iPhone, if you're holding on to it, it will actually record the number of steps that you've done in a day. So generally, if you read the literature, 10,000 steps has been something that's been thrown around. And this originated in Japan, and it was just something that was grabbed out of the air. However, recent studies have now shown that fewer steps can have the same benefit. In 2019, in the Journal of the Medical Association, they discovered that maybe about 4,000 steps a day had maybe just about the same effect as 10,000 steps. But the bottom line is every step counts, and it doesn't matter if you're like, sometimes if I'm cooking, I'm going from side to side to side. Sometimes if you're, just, I don't know, I like to, if I hear music, I kind of start to dance and move. So I think the whole point is whether you're walking, throughout the day, we're taking steps. Just remember that our bodies need to move. Camila says, what advice do I have for readers who may be struggling to find hope and motivation, especially with a workout? Let me go. I will address that, because remember, your body, your brain is always going to the easiest solution. One of the one of the aids that I've used is the 5-second rule by Mel Robbins. That is one of the top 10 TED Talks. She talks about the 5-second rule. This is not the rule where if you drop a piece of food for less than 5 seconds, you can still eat it. What she says is, how do we motivate ourselves to move into action? So what you do is the night before, you get your shoes, you put it right there in front of the door, and your working outfit, your walking outfit. Then when you wake up in the morning, and it's so nice and comfy in your comforter, but you count backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and imagine yourself catapulting out, putting on your shoes and doing the walk. The reason why this works is if we hesitate as we're in our nice warm comforter, your brain is going to spotlight all the reasons why you should stay in that comfy bed. But if we override that and we move into action, there's nothing your brain can do. Once you're out and moving, everything else will follow. So if you're interested in this, Google TED Talks Mel Robbins, Robbins. But that was a very good question. And this has been used by thousands, if not millions of people worldwide. And I think it really helps to go from an idea into action, because we all know we should be moving more. But if it's, if it's easier to just sit stationary, your brain is going to make you do it. But the key is don't hesitate for more than 5 seconds. Just do it. Same thing with any other type of temptations, just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then do what you need to do. Do the right thing. Okay, next slide, please. I think to make something very sustainable, it has to be fun. So guys, I see so many fat pets. Your pets need exercise. You can vary your walk. Ethan says, go hiking, drive to the parks and enjoy the views, get out in nature and just look around at how beautiful everything is. Grab a partner, grab like-minded people, and you can walk and talk at the same time. Make sure you're drinking plenty of fluids. Just walk mindfully, like use all your 5 senses, but also be aware of your surroundings. So as you're listening to the birds and smelling the soil and, feeling the breeze, make sure you're looking for potholes and other hazards. Next slide, please. So one of the things that, sometimes we say, what should I get my Valentine? And sometimes I think the perfect Valentine gift is to grab your loved one and commit to a small change in exercise or in nutrition, which I talked about yesterday. And one of my favorite things, and I wrote this in my book, The Happy Healthy Revolution, chores counts as physical activity. And when my 4 children were little, I was working full-time as a pediatrician. My husband was an internal medicine doctor in the same office with me. And, it was difficult for us to, try to really find that quality family time on the weekdays. But if you allow me, I want to read a few minutes of the chapter on Just Move More from my Happy Healthy Revolution book. The family that works together plays together. As the children got older, it became the tradition to do chores over the weekend together. And during that time, we would talk about what we were going to do after the chores were done. When I look back, these simple activities were some of the best family times and memories I can recall. We would go biking, all 6 of us, or take after dinner walks in the neighborhood. There would be weekend picnics at the beach or just enjoying the neighborhood parks. The kids were always the happiest when they were with us. And I know money just would not and could not buy this joy. I always heard my elders telling me to enjoy my children because before you know it, they'll be all grown up. I could never believe this statement because when you're caring for 4 young children, all I could ask them is, when are you going to grow up and do things for yourselves? Well, my advice to you is, in a blink of an eye, they'll be graduating college and getting married and having families of their own. So don't miss opportunities to be with them. So one of the things I just want to remind everyone, incorporate movement into your lives. You never know who's watching you. You really, you have to be a role model for your children. I started Walk with a Doc, which is a walking group. It's now in over 35 countries, over 600 walking groups. In the United States, there are many, many groups, and you can just Google it. And the final slide, please. So my advice for, Sean said, any advice for beginners? I think the first place to start is take a look at where you're at in your health status. You're coming to a fork in the road. You got to make a choice. Do I incorporate physical activity, or do I just do the status quo and not do anything? One of the things that I think really prevents us is we fear failure. Well, I've tried it before, so I'm afraid I'm going to fail and I'll have lower self-esteem. But, I think what we have to do is just take that chance. Because if we don't make the choice and to make a change, our life is going to be the same. Penny asked, what's the best time of the day to walk? I think, of course, you shouldn't be walking just before you're going to go to sleep. But, any time during the day, whichever fits into your schedule, and you can make it a consistent part of your day, 7 days a week, would be the best time. So again, I don't recommend walking at night. It can be dangerous. So one of the things is just make that decision. After today's talk, sit down with your family. Just say, hey guys, I heard this talk, and let's do some activity every day. We could just walk for 5 minutes after dinner. Let's all clear up the table and clean the dishes together. And then let's just walk around the block, or let's just walk in place. You could listen to music, or let's do some free dance. So whatever you can do on a regular basis will count. Anyway, as I see my time is slowly coming to an end, if anyone has any questions, please write it in the chat. But I want to remind everyone that I will be here next week. It's going to be Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 12 noon. I'm sorry, at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I told you Hawaii time. I will also be interviewed Author of the Hour, which is coming up tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will also be the moderator for a roundtable discussion on unleashing your healthiest self. There will be 8 or 9 authors on board, and this is going to be on February 2nd, Friday, 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope a lot of you will join me then. I will be here on Monday, and just as a preview, I will be talking about stress management and practical ways. I'll give you a little bit of medical understanding of stress and practical things that you can do. So again, in summary, if you're a veteran walker, or if you're even considering just moving a little more, just first think about it, make that decision, make your goal ridiculously small so that, say, I'm going to walk to the mailbox and back. Do that for a few days and go, oh my gosh, this is so simple. Let me just extend it a little more. So again, you want to constantly reassess your goals. But if you can grab a partner and be accountable to someone else, especially grab your loved ones, grab your children, tell them, turn off those screens, let's move, ask them, what kind of movement do you like to do? Maybe they like hiking, maybe they like jumping rope, maybe they like, I don't know, dancing, hip hop dancing, but, try to decide what's best. Ethan says, if I were in Hawaii, I'd walk every day. And, I'm sorry, it's so cold out there for everyone, but, we just make the best of our environment. And as I mentioned, you can even walk indoors. You can walk anywhere. So I hope this session was of help to any and all of you. And, I love walking because, again, it can be done. I can do it with my 3-year-old grandchild. I'll be 70 this year, and I feel like, I love walking, but I like to step it up. I like my rucking sack, and I like to do high intensity training intervals. So I want to encourage everyone that, there's always hope, never give up, and hang in there, because if you can just every day mark on your calendar, just put a big red X, even just looking at a calendar with all those X's, 7 days in a row, 14 days in a row, that's going to give you so much encouragement to keep moving forward. I hope to see all of you next week, Monday. I'll be talking about stress management. Have a great weekend, everyone. I love you guys. Take care. Thank you.